There's two exceptions, Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts, and they will meet this weekend in the Bizarro Bowl. Both have been massively elevated. This is how they've made the playoffs, not because they're elite talents. They've been elevated by other forces. Take Brock Purdy. He lands Kyle Shanahan, who made Matt Schaub a Pro Bowler, Matt Ryan the MVP, and got Jimmy Garoppolo to the Super Bowl. Mac Jones' career was over. He started this year for San Francisco. He had a 97 passer rating, completed 70% of his throws, 5-3. He's not doing that anywhere else in the league, including with McVay. Kyle Shanahan is the quarterback whisperer. Brock Purdy had 33 picks in college. That's why he dipped. He was totally reckless. And yet today, he has the highest passer rating in NFL history, higher than Tom Brady. It's Shanahan. Doesn't mean he doesn't have talent, but it's not just the quarterback in this league. You can, if you get a Kyle Shanahan, who has the best play sheet in the league, be elevated significantly. Take Jalen Hurts. He got benched in college. Greg Cosell, who looks at film on the show with Tom Brady tomorrow, acknowledges he can't see over the middle of the field all the time. He's 5'10-ish. The Eagles actually win more the fewer times Jalen Hurts throws. But he's got the best GM in the league. So Brock Purdy's got the best choreographed offense in the league to elevate him. Doesn't mean he doesn't have talent. And Hurts has the best trade manipulator and draft picker, arguably, in the NFL. But let's not kid ourselves. 12 of the 14 teams in the league have a first-round quarterback.
All right, Eagles fans and 49ers faithful, I need a collective moment of clarity and unity for this discussion. I typically prefer to keep team analyses distinct. A dedicated video for the 49ers, another for the Eagles, one for the Bills. That's just my usual approach. But this specific topic demands something different. This is where Jalen Hurts supporters, Brock Purdy advocates, and the fan bases of both historic franchises need to join forces. I fully acknowledge you'll be bitter rivals this weekend. That's understood. But the narrative we're witnessing is frankly ludicrous. Let's begin with the 49ers' perspective. Did Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance post historically great passer ratings or look as consistently effective as Brock Purdy has? No, they did not. Consider Drake May, a top draft selection. How did he perform prior to the stabilizing influence of a coach like Mike Vrabel and an offensive system? Examine Trevor Lawrence's trajectory this season with Liam Cohen versus previous years. Aaron Rodgers, for all his veteran prowess, how has he fared when the surrounding roster inadequacies are exposed? Aging is a factor, but the principle holds. CJ Stroud is phenomenal, but has he reached a Super Bowl yet? Josh Allen is a physical marvel. What currently impedes his ultimate success? Arguably, team composition and coaching. Justin Herbert. What has constrained his potential? Did his performance not improve markedly under Jim Harbaugh or during his time with Shane Steichen? Absolutely. Sam Darnold, a quarterback whose resilience I admire. What was his output in Carolina and New York before his resurgence? Minimal. Caleb Williams. What transformed the Chicago Bears from a non-playoff team to a 2-seed contender? The arrival of Ben Johnson, offensive line improvements, and enhanced weaponry. The point is clear. Bryce Young's struggles are evident. Matthew Stafford, let's be brutally honest. Please list for me the playoff victories Matthew Stafford secured in Detroit without Sean McVay. I'll wait. Enlighten me about his legendary postseason moments as a Lion. Oh, could it be that team context and coaching infrastructure matter profoundly? Precisely. The prevailing narrative attempts to isolate Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts into a bizarre category, suggesting they are uniquely and exclusively products of their environment, that their success is purely systemic, and that absent this framework, they would be insignificant. Hence, the label of a bizarro bowl. This is fundamentally absurd. Do we acknowledge that Jalen Hurts led his team to the playoffs in 2021 with a deficient roster, a struggling defense, and subpar play calling until Nick Sirianni relinquished duties to Shane Steichen? Are we aware that in 2023, Hurts navigated a season with questionable coaching and one of the league's most generous defenses, yet still propelled his team into the postseason. He merits recognition for those accomplishments. You understand this. The same voices now criticizing Hurts have previously labeled Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo as inadequate coaches. Despite this, Hurts remains a top 10 quarterback in virtually every statistical category. He deserves credit for that resilience. Would Sam Darnold exhibit the same efficiency without the presence of a talent like Jackson Smith-Njigba or the scheming of Clint Kubiak? Multiple realities can coexist. Coaching elevates players, and players, in turn, enhance that elevation process through their execution. Dismissing these quarterbacks is illogical. We're now engaging in the most reductive critiques, literally attempting to diminish Hurts' stature. Suddenly, he's purportedly 5'7"? Part of the Lollipop Guild? This is news to me. Remarkable, then, that this allegedly diminutive figure holds multiple Super Bowl records and defeated the Kansas City Chiefs, the very team that stalwarts like Josh Allen, a top pick, and Lamar Jackson, a top pick, have been unable to overcome in the postseason. It's reasonable to assert Hurts has outperformed other elite quarterbacks against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in playoff settings, doing so across multiple Super Bowl appearances. Similarly, Brock Purdy has delivered in multiple NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl, performing admirably against an elite defense on the biggest stage. Jalen Hurts owns a Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl records. Yet, there's a palpable reluctance to award them the deserved respect. Here's where it becomes particularly contradictory. A respected film analyst, Greg Cosell, who dedicates his life to tape study, is not Hurts' most vocal admirer, but is a pronounced advocate for Brock Purdy's talents. However, Cosell himself has allocated significant credit to Hurts for his Super Bowl performances, explicitly stating the Chiefs did not simply sell out to stop the run, but that Hurts made critical, game-altering throws and runs that dismantled Kansas City's defense. Cosell's analysis throughout the season has frequently highlighted offensive line and play-calling issues for Philadelphia, not primarily Hurts' execution. Cosell's broader thesis is crucial. Most successful passing attacks are a symbiosis of scheme and quarterback execution. Often, completions result from well-designed concepts that present clear, defined throws, the type any competent NFL quarterback should make. The exceptional plays are the ones where the quarterback transcends the scheme. This framework, however, is selectively applied only to Purdy benefiting from Kyle Shanahan's genius, while ignoring that Hurts has cycled through coordinators annually, lacking that sustained schematic stability. Shanahan is a master, and he deserves immense credit. So do the Eagles coordinators, but their inconsistency is part of the evaluation. Both quarterbacks are in uniquely advantageous positions: stellar franchises, superb roster construction, and strong organizational support. I unequivocally believe many quarterbacks would thrive in San Francisco or Philadelphia. That admission, however, does not negate the accomplishments of Purdy and Hurts. They are still owed their flowers. If Shanahan's system were the sole determinant, why was he so adamant about acquiring Purdy? Why did Trey Lance not flourish? Why is Purdy outperforming the taller, more prototypical Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo? Coaches like Shanahan, Andy Reid, and McVay elevate quarterbacks, yes. I firmly believe Josh Allen would be even more formidable under Shanahan. But that shouldn't be weaponized to discredit who Brock Purdy is as a player. This is where I anticipate Chiefs and Mahomes fans interjecting, accusing me of diminishing Mahomes by attributing his success to Andy Reid. That's a misrepresentation. My consistent argument has been that Mahomes has benefited from the stability and offensive brilliance of Andy Reid in a manner that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and others have not enjoyed. This is an objective extension of Cosell's point about scheme. It is fair to observe that Mahomes, within his offensive structure, makes a direct comparison to Purdy more straightforward in Mahomes' favor, a point I believe is non-controversial. Both have elite coaches. The distinction arises when evaluating a quarterback like Josh Allen, who visibly shoulders a greater burden of legwork within a less consistently refined system. Jalen Hurts occupies a unique middle ground. He's had talented rosters, but also endured constant change in offensive play calling. We express shock at passing game inconsistencies, yet he's had a new primary voice every year. Is the connection not obvious? Furthermore, the critique that the Eagles are better when Hurts throws less is infuriating, because it's not a universal indictment. This same logic is praised elsewhere. For instance, Mike Vrabel was lauded for managing Drake May's volume, asking him to throw 18 to 24 times to foster winning. Yet, when a similar approach is discussed for Hurts, it's framed as a limitation. The inconsistency is glaring. Drake May now has Tom Brady's former coordinator. The support structure matters. Justin Herbert was asked to throw less under Jim Harbaugh last season, and the team won more. The Buffalo Bills explicitly reduced Josh Allen's passing volume midseason, resulting in more wins. Ben Johnson's offensive identity in Chicago is rooted in a dominant run game to support Caleb Williams, the first overall pick. The statistical margin is often microscopic. The difference in pass attempts between Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen this season is a mere 6. Hurts's attempts are nearly identical to Sam Darnold's. Compared to Matthew Stafford's volume last season, a 16-game sample for both, Stafford averaged just 3.9 more attempts per game. That's the difference, 4 throws. This occurred during a season where Hurts worked with a first-time play caller, behind an inconsistent offensive line, and with one of the league's least efficient rushing attacks. Delving deeper, a significant portion of Stafford's additional attempts were behind the line of scrimmage or screen passes, concepts Cosell identifies as scheme-heavy, easier throws. Roughly half of that 4-attempt-per-game differential falls into that category. So, the actual divergence in quarterback-demanding throws is minimal, perhaps 2 per game. This is the razor-thin margin upon which entire narratives about a quarterback's volume and capability are constructed. It lacks substantive sense, especially when we contextualize other careers. We readily discuss how Justin Herbert needs better coaching, how Sam Darnold's early career was derailed by poor environments, the transformative impact of supporting casts on Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford, who made the playoffs only 3 times in 12 Detroit seasons, losing each time, then won a Super Bowl in his first year with McVay. Yet, this contextual generosity evaporates for Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. The narrative is forcefully crafted to magnify their dependency on structure in a way it simply isn't for others. That's my core issue. Not that they benefit from great situations, they undeniably do, but the selective, amplified application of this critique. Why is Trevor Lawrence, a number 1 overall pick, granted the "but his coach and roster" excuse, while Purdy and Hurts are singled out? Why did Matthew Stafford not win in Detroit? It's Detroit. Exactly. So why did he win with McVay? Did McVay not also take Jared Goff to a Super Bowl? Has Goff returned since leaving McVay? The logical consistency demanded by the system quarterback label, if applied uniformly, would indict many more passers. Shanahan took Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl. Garoppolo also performed exceptionally in limited New England action, so well that reports suggested Tom Brady felt threatened. Performance is multifaceted. So, I implore Eagles and 49ers fans, Hurts and Purdy supporters, to find common ground in this comment section. On Sunday, you are arch rivals. Bring the fury, the passion, the definitive takes on why your team will triumph. But in this specific meta-conversation about respect and narrative, you are allies. It's the classic cinematic trope of 2 powerful forces realizing a shared adversary. That's this moment. Let's see what you all have to say. I read every single comment. Whether you concur or vehemently disagree, let's engage in discussion, even heated debate. But ultimately, let's enjoy the discourse. Please consider subscribing. We're building a remarkable community here and would be thrilled to have you join. My goal is to forge a space of authentic connection and shared enthusiasm. I believe we're on that path. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely aids visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much. Until next time.